Hey everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me just double check my mic. 1 second. I think it's on. All right. Okay, I'm good. And hi, whoever's in here. In case anybody wants to come up at all, feel free. I always enjoy discussion. So there's a StreamYard link just in case. Hey Sarah. And I took a very long time getting stuff done, so it's probably gonna take me a while to find all the stuff I put together. I tried to put it in order, but I didn't have a lot of time, so if I'm taking a minute to screen share and do stuff, don't mind me. Oh. So how's everyone doing? I went to the fair yesterday, and then Thursday my son has a half day at school. I'm going to the dentist, and I'm getting my fillings done. So don't fucking judge me, y'all. But I hate the dentist, and I haven't gone in besides the other day, I haven't gone in 10 years. Maybe more. I think the last time I went was when this little piece of hair is annoying me. When I was a teenager and got my wisdom teeth out. So it was really, really, really long time ago. And finally I was like, you know what? I need to go because I keep clenching my teeth and just having I didn't get a funnel cake, but they had a seafood thing there. They had clams and shrimp, and I got a lot of food, so I didn't. Oh my god, this piece of hair just is hanging out and it's pissing me off. I can't get it in. No, I didn't get funnel cake, but I should have. They had Oreo funnel cake, and I thought about it, and I didn't. But I got a lot of food and brought it home, and then I lost a Rochambeau to my kid who wanted to bring a lizard to the carnival, and I was like, no, we're not bringing a lizard to the carnival. It's ridiculous. And he was like, I'll play you in rock, paper, scissors for it. So I was like, fine. And he beat me. So yeah, Oreo funnel cake. I have no idea how they make it, but I just see the sign for it and it looked really good. Although I'm not crazy about Oreo cookies, but I like Oreo flavored stuff. The Oreo kids yogurts, they're so good. I get them for my kid and then I steal them all. And I really like those Chobani flip yogurts, the s'mores one. Oh my god, they're so good. I can eat 7 of them in one night. They're marshmallow yogurt with chocolate, graham cracker. And what's that it's not butterscotch, but it's it reminds me of butterscotch but hard, like toffee. It has that in there. And it's really good. They mix that in it. It's so good. Ice cream with Oreo. Yeah, Captain Kangaroo ice cream with Oreo is really good too. That's what I'm saying. I like Oreo flavored stuff, but I just don't really care for Oreo cookies alone. But anyway, so I haven't gone to the dentist in okay, I'm 30. Put it this way, I'm 33, and I was probably 17 the last time I went. So what, 13 years, something like that. I had a cavity that got filled, and I clenched my teeth, and somehow it fell out. So I have to get that refilled. Then I have another cavity and a broken tooth, and that's it. So I did pretty good for 13 years of not going to the dentist. Not too bad. Thought my mouth was gonna be ravaged, but it wasn't. But I'm terrified because I thought I was just gonna go and they were gonna zip fillings and it'd be done. I don't even know how to say, am I saying this right? Shama? Hi, Shama. I hope I'm saying that right. You need to do like a, how you pronounce it for me so I know how to say it. And, what was I saying? So, I thought it was just like, they just do something really simple, but apparently Dave said that they like give me needles in my mouth and get a drill. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Warlord of Art, hello. Yeah, so I'm scared. So Thursday, I don't even know how I'm gonna accomplish this. So Thursday, I have to be there at 9:45, and I gotta get 3 fillings done, which she said will only take like 25 minutes. So hopefully so, because the kid has a half day that day. And then I'm gonna go see the new Jurassic Park. My son loves dinosaurs, and we have lots of lizards as pets, so naturally that's one of our favorite movies. So we go, Melena. Oh my God, I did it again. Melena. It's the IA. Shelma. Is that how you say it, Shelma? Did I say Shelma? Did I say it right? I'm saying everyone's name wrong. You're gonna go see it this weekend? So am I. I'm going Thursday. I think it's supposed to come out Friday, I think, but the theaters around me say, hey, Thumb Dog, that it's gonna be there Thursday, and we love Jurassic Park, so I'm really excited for it. Shalma, I said it right? Okay, good. And then, so yeah, I'm gonna get 2 fillings, and then wait, listen to this. So then the very next day, after I get my fillings, I have to go back and get a tooth pulled that's like in the back that's broken. He said I could get a root canal, but shit's like $1,800, so I'm just getting it pulled. You can't even see it. It's way back there, so 2 days in a row I gotta go to the dentist, and then I'm never going again. At least for another 6 months. Just get cleanings, and that's it, because I don't want any more stuff done in my mouth. And my dentist is a psychopath. She's like, that little scrapey thing? Oh, I hate that thing. I hate it so much. And she's like stabbing my gums with it. And I'm like, ow, 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 with my mouth open. And that little like sucker thing's in there. She's like, what do you want me to do? Like yelling at me. I'm like, I don't know. Just what can I do? I don't like this. She's being so mean to me. She's like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I don't know. I hate the dentist. I dread it. I'd rather get a million paps. Oh, I don't like that either. Yeah. I don't know. I just have like a natural fear for anything in an office. I don't know. I hate doctors. I hate the dentist. I hate it all. But yeah, that lady was literally trying to kill me. Like, stabbing my gums and just, oh, it was a nightmare. So, hopefully, I survive Thursday and Friday because I'm scared. And, what else was I going to talk about? Well, actually, I'll just get started. So, I'm going to talk about some Johnny Depp stuff first. Which I thought this was really interesting. There's like a big, hey, Annalise. It's like a big, oh, hold on a second. There's something I need to do before I continue on. Bear with me, guys, for 1 second. There. Elena, I added you as a mod. Okay. Anyway, so there's this big Twitter war going on. You want us to donate some cereal? Yes. I don't need any more cereal. They sent me, oh my gosh, Melania and Christina sent me a huge box of cereal. So, like, go check your porch. South Alabama Lurker live streams. I love that name. Hi, welcome. Who is this? They sent me a big box of cereal, like Cocoa Puffs, Fruity Pebbles. Actually, 2 boxes. There were so many. Yes, you do need to send me your address. Please make sure you do it. I got Cheerios. I got Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cocoa Puffs. You're not that late, Crystal. I just started. Hi. I was drowning in the tub and some thugs didn't send the divers. Well, I'm glad you made it. Before I have something to say about a bathtub before I get to that point, but hold on. I got Honey Bunches of Oats, which is my favorite. Honey Nut Cheerios. I feel like I'm missing something. I got a lot of cereal, put it that way. I got a big ass box. I went and picked it up. I'm like, what the hell is in here? and then a whole nother box came just with Fruity Pebbles in it because it couldn't fit all the cereal, I guess, in one box, which I definitely think they could have fit it, but it didn't fit. And a bathtub. So we're gonna be building on this land, a home on a property that we have. Well, it's kind of already there. We're just adding a second floor to it and redoing it. And I found this bathtub on Facebook Marketplace that's never been used before. It's beautiful. I'm so excited. But it's been just sitting in the back of my Explorer for ever because I have nowhere to put it. But so I'm just driving around with a huge bathtub in the back of my car. But it is one of them standalone bathtubs that are big on the sides. Hold on, let me try and get my hands in the camera. So big on the sides like this. It's backwards. And then it curves in like this in the middle, like one of them really fancy smanchy ones. But it's so deep. I don't know how people take baths in those things. I'm going to be drowning in it. And then it came with these really fancy fixtures. So the person I bought it from got it for a home and it didn't fit. So I don't know. I know he's at least he's on a trip. I think visiting his grandma or something. So I don't know. My Dave's been really upset because his friends haven't been around to game. So I know that. So I don't know if he'll be here tonight, but hopefully. But yeah, I love this bathtub. It's a $2,000 bathtub that I got for $500, and it's perfect and brand new and never been touched. It was too big to fit in their bathroom, so they just sold it. And I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, I love me a nice bathtub too. So, all right, back to the Johnny Depp stuff that I wanted to talk about. So there's been so you guys know the Umbrella guy. He's one of the big YouTubers that have covered the Johnny Depp case. And Legal Bites. Oh yeah, Bomb Ass Camille. Let me add that in before I get started. Camille has been made a partner of her law firm. And so yeah, good for her. Congrats, Camille. I see videos where she's famous now. Everyone's taking pictures with her and stopping her. And everyone, please like and subscribe if you haven't yet, before I forget. And I always forget to say that, so let me just add that in now. Well, anyway, Umbrella guy, he's the number one, one of the big Johnny Depp YouTubers who has covered it. Even so, he got mentioned in court. They were saying that he was being tipped off by Adam Waldman, Johnny's lawyer, giving him info. So, him and Legal Bites, I forget the person's name on Legal Bites, are kind of going at it with this journalist from the Washington Post. So, it seems that mainstream media is, kind of supporting Amber Heard, and YouTubers are supporting Johnny, and journalists are getting very frustrated. Oh my gosh, this piece of hair. Okay, I'm going to stop looking at it. Journalists are getting frustrated with YouTube because it's the mainstream media is kind of not able to control the narrative anymore, and YouTube is becoming the new place for people to go for news, which is very true because all right, put it this way. Google is the number one search engine in the world. I mean, everyone goes to Google to, let me Google it. It's just a thing. No, there's just like a little hair that's like keeps undoing. It's backwards, the camera, so I'm always touching the wrong side. It keeps popping out. It's just bothering me every time I look at it. I need to like put something so I don't see myself because it drives me crazy. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Okay. So Umbrella Guy, Legal Bites. So, the journalists can't really control mainstream media anymore. And this one journalist from the Washington Post, now mind you, the Washington Post backed up, they posted Amber's op-ed on Washington Post, I'm pretty sure. And a journalist from the Washington Post, Taylor Lorenz, wrote an article about like YouTubers making money off of the Johnny Depp trial, which was kind of messed up because she made it like they hopped on this trial just, to get views and stuff, which the Umbrella Guy definitely did not. He was covering it for a while, and the other people are lawyers. And hey, just carry me. How are you? Let me see if I can find the exact article. Oh wait, let me take this real quick. Oh no, never mind. It's a YouTube video. I thought it was an article. I got excited for a second. Apparently she's had a severe PTSD from being a journalist. All right, I'm gonna go Umbrella Guy because I'm pretty sure Umbrella Guy shared it, and I will find the article. I'm all over the place, guys. I had like a lot of stuff saved, but not everything. So just bear with me. It should be right here. I want to get the original article that she wrote. I might have sent it to myself even, but I gotta look. Or I might have put it in my history. Wait a second. Oh, here we go. I do have it. Ha. All right. I will share the screen so you guys can see it because I like looking at it myself. So I got a brand new monitor too, so I'm really excited about it. I have 3 screens now. All right. So Taylor Lorenz, she is a journalist for the Washington Post, and she's very pro Amber Heard. And she, Washington Post is the people who posted the op-ed. So she wrote this article. Who won the Depp Heard trial? Content creators that went all in. Influencers discovered there's money and clout to be made in covering breaking news. So keep this editor's note in mind, but we'll go back to that. When the verdict came down in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial Wednesday afternoon, thousands of online influencers scrambled to respond. Twitch streamers reacted to the news in real time. YouTubers posted analysis videos. Instagram meme accounts joked and celebrated Depp's win. TikTokers broke down the most meaningful moments from the decision. The videos and memes were just the latest in a tidal wave of content about the trial that dominated the internet for much of the past 2 months. Sorry. The trial offered a potential glimpse into the future of media where content creators serve as the personalities breaking news to an increasing number of viewers and, in turn, define the online narrative around major events. Those creators can also bring in major personal profit in the process. In this new landscape, every big news event becomes an opportunity to amass followers, money, and clout. And the Depp Heard trial showed how the creator-driven news ecosystem can influence public opinion based on platform incentives. Nearly every large breaking news event in the past year has birthed a new crop of online influencers. As the coronavirus began its deadly spread across the country, people turned to large health-focused influencers to make sense of it, often falling for dangerous misinformation. When Russia invaded Ukraine, war pages proliferated, and their creators earned thousands by selling merchandise and posting OnlyFans ads. And as waves of anti-LGBTQ legislation flourished in recent months, popular LGBTQ streamers and TikTokers received major boosts in attention. When the Depp Heard trial began gaining traction online in April, internet users around the world recognized a fresh-faced opportunity to seize and monetize the attention. Christopher Orrick, a 20-year-old content creator in Los Angeles, has posted a dozen videos about the trial to his more than 1.4 million viewers on Instagram across several pages. Personally, what I've gained from it is money as well as exposure from how well the videos do, he said. You can go from being a kid in high school. If you hop on it early, it can basically change your life. Orrick said you can use those views and likes and shares that you get from it to monetize and build your account and make more money from it, meet more people, and network. The content creator, Elite Mazika, I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Sorry. Sorry if I totally ruined that, but earned $5,000 in 1 week by pivoting the content on her YouTube channel to nonstop trial coverage and analysis, according to Business Insider. I believe that's Legal Bites. That's like her real name. She declined to comment for this story. That Umbrella Guy, an anonymous YouTuber whose entire channel is dedicated to pro-Depp content, earned up to $80,000 last month, according to an estimate by social analytics firm Social Blade. That Umbrella Guy could not be reached for comment. Orrick said he earned over $5,400 last month in Instagram Reels bonus payments. When large creators saw the attention relative unknowns were receiving, many fully pivoted their content to covering the trial. Makeup artists, meme accounts, comedians, lifestyle influencers, K-pop fans, movie reviewers, true crime podcasters, real estate influencers, and suddenly the Depp trial was their primary focus. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Umbrella Guy debunking what he said, what she said, and everything. I just wanted to read this article before I get into it, but it gets very interesting. They're literally going at it on Twitter, but content produced by social media influencers skewed heavily pro-Depp with economic bias playing a big role. Johnny content performed a lot better. This really annoys me because I feel like people didn't purposely choose Johnny content because Johnny was doing better. People purposely choose Johnny content because they believed him. Yes, I agree, Crystal. She's definitely jealous that people are gaining popularity and that journalism is kind of like a thing. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a thing of the past, but it's heavily changing to like the news being like people are looking to their favorite people to watch on YouTube to or see their opinions, because when you watch the mainstream news, it's either one side or the other, or they're lying to you, or you feel misled, or you feel like you're trying to be controlled. But when you watch stuff on YouTube, it's very different. So okay. Where was I? Johnny content performed a lot better, said Rowan Widge, a 17-year-old content creator. When people do post stuff trying to defend Amber Heard, they will lose followers. Yeah. But that's not because people didn't lose followers because they just because they didn't believe Amber. You know what I mean? It wasn't because their content wasn't doing good as Amber, just because people don't believe her, and it was backfiring because people were mad, A lot of major content creators probably don't even care about it that much. They just care about the views that it gets. And I don't agree with that either. I think content creators did care about it, and that's why they wanted to talk about it. Yeah, I agree, Just Carrie. I think people covered it because they supported one party or the other. Or even if they covered it because it was popular, they still watched it and paid attention and picked a side. It wasn't because it wasn't just because if they were just covering it for views, they could have stayed unbiased and talked about it. You know what I mean? I just think people covered it because they felt passionate about it. And I think this is what, like, a lot of people got pissed off that she was saying these things. Depp's own team recognized the phenomenon at hand and looked to capitalize on it. Last month, Adam Waldman, who represented Depp against Heard's abuse allegations in 2016, testified that he had numerous phone calls with several sympathetic YouTubers and content creators with whom he called internet journalists. I communicate with the internet journalists exactly the same way I communicate with mainstream media. I'll inform them, which there's nothing wrong with it because sorry, I gotta cough for a second. Let me mute so I don't hurt anybody's ears. Sorry, guys. I had like a cold last week and I have like lingering mucus in my throat. But like they made such a big deal out of him talking to YouTubers, but now it's becoming like it was smart on his part because now that is becoming a new thing and journalism is kind of, you know, now that everyone has this stuff at their own devices where they can just go on and do this, it's becoming a new thing where people want to hear people that they find likable or relatable and they want to hear them talk about it. And there's experts on YouTube, so it's not like any old YouTuber. I mean, some are just any old YouTuber giving an opinion, but there's also people who are giving their expert opinion, like Emily Baker and Legal Bites and Law and Lumber. They're actual lawyers who can give their opinion on how things go in the courtroom, which I think is really informative and actually better than just some, like, I find that better than just some newscaster just talking about it who probably is not even really paying attention to the trial. I'd rather listen to an actual lawyer who knows the way things work in the legal system and will explain it to you. You sent them to Kate's new tub. Yeah, all the ones I've watched seem very interested and did amazing coverage, and they definitely weren't looking for their 15 minutes of fame. I agree. Like, I watched Emily Baker for most of it. I just love Emily Baker, and she's funny, and she does a really good job explaining it. I have to show a picture of my tub for you guys because I'm just so proud of it. Yes, Emily Baker is the bomb. I love her. Sorry, I'm really thirsty. Where was I? As traditional news outlets prioritize stories such as the leaked Supreme Court draft opinion on, I don't know if I should say this word. Do you guys see it? I feel like certain words on YouTube are just bad to say. So, abortion. The war in Ukraine and mass shootings in Buffalo and Texas. It left an opening for online coverage to set the tone with the Depp Heard trial. There's a seriousness that legacy media follows when they cover these things, and said Aaron Saltzman, a strategist who works with content creators and NFT artists. Content creators can lean into internet culture. They can be silly and crude and crass. It comes off as more authentic to a lot of people, and I think that really resonates. Exactly. Like on YouTube, you can curse and you can relate to people, like on the news it's very like scripted and hold on a second. It's very scripted and very, you don't feel connected to newscasters. So I just feel like YouTube's becoming the new news in it, and I'm totally okay with it being that way. But I think it's bothering journalists because It's, things are changing. Now, I don't know how like PR companies work, and I would love if somebody knows anything about PR companies to fill me in. But do PR companies pay off big mainstream media places to do their narrative? Like, for instance, would Amber Heard's PR team pay off the Washington Post to post pro Amber stuff? I'm curious about that. Because it makes me wonder why a lot of mainstream media are going the Amber Heard direction, and why a lot of like YouTubers are in the Johnny Depp direction. Hold on, where was I? They can be silly and crude and crass. It comes off as way more authentic to a lot of people, and I think that really resonates. Yes, that's another thing which I love. I think that's my favorite part of YouTube is the interaction. I love like making friends with people in chat and talking about it with other people. And oh yeah, Sarah, there was lots of people who wanted to be Amber Heard's PR when Amber fired them. People jumped to that, trying to get that position, Yeah, but I think that's my favorite thing about YouTube is, like making friends with people and talking about it with other people and going up on panels and expressing your opinion and hearing from a lawyer or hearing from a guy who specializes in woodwork, like it's you're like, how would that I thought I heard that. How that intertwined, it's kind of random. Like the guy talked about the bed being broken, but I mean, you can YouTube, you can find anyone. There is an audience for anyone, and there is an expert on something. Like you can find anything on YouTube. So I love YouTube. It's so much different. I would pick YouTube over the news any day. Uh, um, And then what I like about YouTube too? I mean, there's definitely a lot of rumors that get brought up on YouTube, and things get out of hand. But there also is like, somebody lives close by and they tip off somebody, and then people get like early news through YouTube or Twitter too, even. So it's just things are very different now with social media. Amber Heard needs a slick PR team. Yes, she does. Respectful discussions and debates. I learn something new every day. Same. I do too. It's almost like addicting. Like I can't ever find myself putting on the news. Like I'd rather watch like a weather for like I'm not gonna lie, I even watch tornado like storm chasers on YouTube. Like I'd rather even get the weather off YouTube than watching it on the news. Maybe traffic. Traffic will probably be the only thing I watch news for. But now I got an app on my phone where I can just type in where I'm going and it tells me about traffic. So there's really no need for the news anymore. Let's just. Anyway, but while people who consume their news from content creators often believe it to be more trustworthy than mainstream media, yes, for sure. Creators aren't beholden to any editorial standards or journalistic norms. Remember that. Remember that one quote right there. I know Taylor didn't say it, but it's still ironic. Kat Tenbarge, a reporter at NBC News covering the trial, tweeted, "In fact, they're incentivized to break them to fit the narrative and make money." I think YouTubes are a lot more honest than the news. The news picks a side and picks a narrative. How do you know you're getting the right? They heavily try and push you one way or the other. You don't really. With the news, it's like it's not. You can choose to listen to like Fox or like CNN, but like with YouTube, you're not really heavily pushed to go one way or the other. You don't feel brainwashed. You're free to go what you want. Like, yes, the news is a propaganda expert of government's big business for sure. So Captain Kangaroo, why do you think a lot of the mainstream media is taking Amber Heard's side over Johnny Depp's? Hey, Jem. Yes, I'm live. I haven't even been live. Well, you haven't missed much. I'm talking about Taylor Lorenz. She's a journalist for the Washington Post who's heavily Amber Heard on the Amber Heard side. And she wrote an article about YouTube. She basically doesn't like YouTubers, and she feels like they're doing it just for clout, which of course people are doing it for clout. Everybody does, some kind of thing like that for clout. But I don't think YouTubers just like I think YouTubers become passionate about things and then really dive into them. Like that's why those particular people were the most watched, because they were the most passionate about the trial. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's people who do it just for clicks and views, but the people who everyone wanted to watch were like, you can gauge if the person really was into it and did their research, and that's why everyone wanted to watch him. Obviously, the umbrella guy, you can gauge him is not doing it for clicks and views. He's been covering it for even before the trial started, so he's very passionate about it, plain and simple. So, in fact, they are incentivized to break them to fit the narrative and make money. Media and influencers on the political right seized upon the cultural movement to make Depp a cause celebre, using their coverage to turn the trial into a referendum on the Me Too movement. As more people turn, thank you. A Red Bull. As more people turn to online creators for information, misinformation flourishes, and the trial could provide a playbook for anyone looking into the leverage the creator economy for their own gain. Yeah, but that's up to the people who watch YouTube. The people who watch YouTube to decide. Who do you find annoying, Jim? Gotcha. I like Tug. I think his voice is a little like sometimes I have I get annoyed by certain voices and sounds, and sometimes I can't listen to him long because his voice kind of like irks me. But I do find him credible, and I think he does a really good job looking into things. But Emily Baker did a great job, and I really enjoyed watching her. But again, I don't think I feel like that's for people who watch YouTube and to gauge if they feel like the person does their homework or not. Like it's not like people know when you don't know what you're talking about. Are you like? And plus, a lot of people were watching professionals. Like Emily Baker is a lawyer. She was wasn't she a DA before? Like she knows what she's talking about. So you're not really getting misinformation. And most people that's why they got so many views, because people know they're legit and they don't spread misinformation. That's all I'm saying. I mean, sure, there's definitely people who spread misinformation, but that's up for people to decide if that content creator they can rely on them to give them, the facts. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's an XDA. Yep, that's what I was saying. Yeah, she's very credible. Yeah, I don't think Amber's situation should ever have been made like a Me Too thing either. And you know what? I was gonna talk about this a little later, but I'll just bring him up. You know that YouTuber, Natalie lawyer chick, something like that. She made a really good point. So mainstream media reached out to her for her her opinion on the case, and she gave them her opinion, and basically they told her like, we can't use your opinion because it was not pro Amber Heard. You know what I'm saying? So basically, they told her they couldn't use her opinion. So she published it anyway, which I have a link to, and I'll read it to you guys. But she compared the situation to like Emmett Till. I mean, this guy was killed like brutally, and he didn't even do it, and he was falsely accused of doing this to this woman. I mean, women, like, people lie, humans lie. It has nothing to do with gender. You know what I mean? A woman can lie and a man can lie. It's an individual case. Each one should be treated like, why is this about gender? Men can be abused and women can be abused. I get that women are more fragile than men, but anyone can be abused. I mean, women might be more fragile than men, but women, like, I know somebody whose ex, like, literally stabbed them. Like, it doesn't matter if you're little, you can hit them with it. Like, I'm just saying, anybody can be an abuser and anyone can be a victim, and to genderize it like this is just annoying to me, because each case, every single case should be taken seriously, and any human can lie. So, you know, why is it like we have to believe all women? We should believe everybody and then look into it and figure out the facts. You know, you should just look into the evidence, plain and simple. I just don't think that, like, it should be a gender thing, and it really annoys me. And I think that is why it was such a big deal to everyone, because everyone knows some toxic female or some toxic guy, you know? And I think a lot of people, even women who were abused by men, were frustrated with um, Amber Heard, because she really tried to make herself out to be some victim when they literally had proof that she wasn't, and it was frustrating to hear that. Like, you know, yeah, it shouldn't be a gender issue, and I'm sorry if people don't agree with that, but that's just how I feel. Like, I know a lot of toxic women, and I know a lot of women who beat up on their men, and it's just a lot of women think, like, I get that the numbers are much higher in male to female abuse, because that's, men do not report it. Like, it's ingrained in our heads that men aren't supposed to hit women. So a lot of women take advantage of that, knowing that a man won't hit them and will be physically abusive, plain and simple. And of course, it happens often the other way around, but that's why it should be very just individual cases. Abuse is abuse, exactly. Abuse is abuse, plain and simple. Where was I? All right, so Joe Federer, author of the book The Hidden Psychology of Social Networks, said that it's easy to see how manipulating a TikTok algorithm or planting the right information with the right influencers causes a real misunderstanding of important issues. There's a huge difference between breaking a story and articulating an informed point of view on it, and following onto a trending topic. The popularity of the trial online has only emboldened influencers to lean harder into breaking news and compete more directly with traditional. Yeah, this says it right here. Why she's mad. Popularity of the trial online has only emboldened influencers to lean harder into breaking news and compete more directly with traditional news organizations on coverage. Well, then the mainstream media needs to get on it and get on YouTube and start doing it this way, because this is what's becoming popular. Like, WFLA and Brian N, he does a good job. They're like a news thing, but they get in and they do the YouTube thing and, you know, get with the times. By Thursday morning, less than 24 hours after the verdict came down, many creators were already in search of the next big story. Marlon McLeod, 20, a content creator who runs a large Instagram account with 3 million followers dedicated to posting videos of attractive men, he said plans to pivot his page to covering more news. A video he posted recently about the trial got more than 34 million views. So that pisses me off. Like, if this guy posts attractive men and then he wants to start talking about issues, why can't he do that? You know what I mean? Like, if he wants to start talking about it, why can't he start talking about it? If he finds passion in that, then what's the issue? Ugh. I do want to cover more news and big things happening in the world, he said. Before the trial, my account was about posting random videos of men, but as my account grows, I want to be diving more into these events and reporting on them, kind of like news outlets. Alright, so in this particular article, it got edited because she said in the article, oh, I have to cough. Sorry, guys. Apparently, the side button on my mouse clicks me out of the stream for some reason. So, see you, Jem. Thank you for stopping by. Get some sleep. I can't wait for vacation too. I'm going on vacation the weekend of the 18th, 19th. Be at the beach. Maybe I'll go live for a couple minutes. Talk to you guys while I'm down there. Well, anyway, so there's a big editor's note right here. So she said in her story that she reached out to Umbrella Guy for comment and Legal Bites, and they didn't comment. And she lied. She didn't reach out to them until they tweeted that she didn't reach out to them. And then she reached out to them. And she changed some. So basically, they went in and they tried to stealth edit the article, which means they tried to edit it and hope nobody would notice, which journalists are not allowed to do that. It's against their ethics or like their code of ethics. They're not allowed to go stealth edit. They have to leave an editor's note. And they went in and tried to stealth edit and they got caught. And then they had to address it. So, and this lady has had issues before. Like she hasn't been the greatest journalist. I'm shocked she hasn't been like, what do you call it, suspended or something for her code of ethics. But sorry. All right. So the first published version of the story stated incorrectly that internet influencers Alight, Mazika, and that Umbrella Guy had been contacted for comment before publication. In fact, only Mazika was asked via Instagram after the story was published. The post continued to seek comment from Mazika via social media and queried the Umbrella Guy for the first time. So why in an article would you say that you reached out to them and they didn't respond when you didn't? Like, if you didn't reach out to them, why would you say that you did in the like after publishing? Like, why would you say that when it's published that you reach out to them when you didn't, and then say, oh well, after publishing you did? Well, you published that you reached out to them and they didn't. You didn't give them a chance to comment because you never reached out to them. So it's kind of like why she said that, I don't know, but she basically said that she reached out for comment and they didn't comment, but she never reached out. And then after it was published, they went on Twitter and they were like, yeah, she wrote an article and she definitely didn't reach out to us and she got caught. So then she contacted them and reached out to them. And then they tried to stealth edit and sneak it in there. Yeah, she's a freaking liar. So then she tried to sneak it in there and they got caught and then they had to make an editor's note. The post removed the incorrect statement from the story, but did not note its removal, a violation of our corrections policy. The story... Oh, I stopped sharing my screen when I kicked myself out. Sorry, guys. The story has been updated to note that Mazika declined to comment for the story and that Umbrella Guy could not be reached for comment. A previous version of the story also inaccurately attributed a quote to Adam Waldman, a lawyer for Johnny Depp. The quote described how he contacted some internet influencers and has been removed. So she did that too. Anyway, let me go to that umbrella guy so you can see. So the guy from CNN called her out. I'll get to that. Let me just find where he starts. God, he tweets a lot. So, I mean, they called her in a bunch of shit. It's actually really funny. Alright, hold on. Should be right around here, guys. Sorry. Alright, maybe I pass it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Alright, so this is Umbrella Guy's tweet. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see. Alright, so the Washington Post lied and did not contact me before including me in their story on Johnny Depp, despite reporting they did so. I noted this on Twitter today at 8:31 p.m. At 9:44, they decided to contact me after I noted this publicly. So 9:44 p.m. So this is after he noted it. Hi there. I'm a reporter at the Washington Post and wanted to reach out to see if you'd be interested in letting us know how much you made recently on your YouTube channel. So mind you, she said in the article that he made $80K, which isn't totally true. On the website, it says he made between 6,000. He could have made between 6,000 and 80K. It doesn't say he made 80K. It says he could have made somewhere between those numbers. And then she put it in the thing as 80K. Right now, you're mentioned in a stat in our story about the Depp vs. Heard coverage, saying that according to an estimate by social analytics firm Social Blade, you potentially made $80,000 last month. I'm pretty sure that he didn't answer her because he does not like mainstream media or anything that has to do with it. So, he doesn't. He didn't respond. Looks like that umbrella guy made the Washington Post because dedicated pro-Depp content. Nice how they speculate at what I made 1 month, by the way, but omits years of coverage. I'd like to see proof that Washington Post reached out to me because I got no email or Twitter DMs. And then he highlights what she said. And then he posts, the Washington Post also flagrantly misrepresented my earnings report and needs to correct it. Social Blade says I made between 4.9K and 79.1K. They add it to the highest estimate, over-reporting for dramatic effect. Hold on a second. So this guy commented, they are going to take down citizen reporters. You guys found a bypass to their information filtration and they can't stand it. They won't tolerate it. I'm afraid we can't do anything. They'll deplatform you and then there's just silence. It takes work to stay informed already. Oh no, this isn't good for Washington Post at all. Well, especially because they backed Amber Heard's OPED and then she lost. And she's like the most hated woman in America. And now they're lying about stuff. Let me keep going. Hold on. He says he posts. Here we go. Remember, women did not do this. Amber Heard did this. Her friends did this. The media and the Hollywood cronies did this. Companies did this. Their political pals did this. Make sure you hold the right people accountable. The mainstream media is attacking the entire world over Johnny Depp because they were complicit in this abuse hoax and do not want to be held accountable. Amber Heard lied, sure, but they boosted the lie for 6 long years, and even now they're a relic. Oh, I could play. Have you guys watched Elaine's thing? She also claims to have PTSD from being doxxed. Yeah, and she doxed the chick from TikTok. Yep. She said she has PTSD from being doxxed, but yet she doxed this chick, this TikTok star. Hold on a second. There's more stuff that they posted. I'm gonna find the guy, the CNN stuff. No wonder people don't trust or believe the media. Great work, Adam, for going with the truth. Journalists like that umbrella guy, the Brian Fella and Laura B. And then Adam said they are the new media. He's right. Oh, that's what I was saying. YouTube is the second most searched engine. So Google is number 1, and then YouTube is number 2. So imagine that. It's either you're Googling it or you're YouTubing it. Like if you're looking up how to do things or you're Googling something, those two are the most searched engines ever. That's how many people are on YouTube and on Google that are looking up stuff. There is literally so many people. There's subs for everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody has someone they like. Everyone can relate to certain people. That's just how it is. Umbrella guy. Unlike the mainstream media, I build my media credentials in the trenches, fighting fights we were told were unwinnable because we're facing off against multi-billion-dollar corporation elitists, Hollywood politicians, and more. God, I live for this. Much love to you. What is this? Oh wow! Amber Heard has reportedly rejected spousal support of $50,000 a month for 8 months from Johnny Depp because the terms of the agreement allowed him to gain a restraining order against her. I didn't know that. Interesting. Taylor Lorenz from the Washington Post reached out after writing the story saying she'd reached out. She didn't bother doing so until I called that out publicly. They also exaggerated the top earning portion and got the information about Adam Waldman factually wrong. Oh, this guy said, sounds like Lorenz did reach out to Umbrella Guy for comment. She did. So it's funny that Taylor Lorenz did a whole piece on how YouTubers aren't credible news outlets, but yet she didn't even reach out for comment and lied and said that she did. So how credible is mainstream media? Let's be real. I guess I'm gonna have to make a video on the Taylor Lorenz Washington Post mess. Don't lie about contacting me. Just write. I'll ignore you. You'll write a piece. I'll mock you incessantly. Remember, you're supposedly the journalist with integrity. Fox News is asking me for a comment about Taylor Lorenz. I don't talk to the media, so I'll say it publicly. Taylor Lorenz wrote an obvious smear piece conflating Depp support with financial gain. She flagrantly ignored the fact I'd covered this case for over a year, before While mischaracterizing what Adam Wallman said during the Depp trial, she got the factual items about their relationship wrong as well. Crazier, she lied about contacting me in the Washington Post and tried to cover this up after I called it out publicly. I noted this publicly at 8:31 on June 2nd. She wrote me over an hour after I posted this in a blatant attempt at backtracking. Additionally, she conflated protected earnings from the site Social Blade to fit her obvious hit piece, saying I made up to an estimated $80K. Social Blade notes a low of $4.7K to $79.1K. Not only did she omit the low end, she added to the highest. This from someone claiming to be better than YouTubers. If she wanted a real story, she'd ask domestic abuse survivors why they backed Johnny Depp. But hey, money, right? I gave this to the Fox writer in my DMs as comment. I made it publicly because I do not trust the press. With good reason. No offense to this writer. Yes, because the press often takes comments that people say and spins them to what they want it to sound like. This should be very transparent because the public should know how the mainstream works. No more hidden backroom BS. Let's look at this real quick. YouTubers say WAPO's Taylor Lorenz, Washington Post, Taylor Lorenz falsely claims she reached out for comment in a story about Depp Heard trial. It starts with a clip. The Washington Post stealth edited its report after Lorenz was called out on social media. The Washington Post internet culture journalist Taylor Lorenz is under fire for falsely claiming she had reached out to YouTubers in her story about the explosive Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. On Thursday, following the stunning conclusion of Depp's successful defamation lawsuit against ex-wife Lorenz, alleged the real winners were content creators who benefit from the courtroom frenzy with the larger filings and spikes in revenue. The trial offered a potential glimpse into our future media ecosystem where content creators serve as personalities breaking news to an increasing number of viewers and in turn define the online narrative around major events. Those creators can also bring in major personal profits in the process. Lorenz told readers, in this new landscape, every big news event becomes an opportunity to amass followers, money, and clout. And the Depp Heard trial showed how the creator-driven news ecosystem can influence public opinion based on platform incentives. Her article cites two YouTube personalities, Legal Bites host Elite Mazika and anonymous user named That Umbrella Guy. Lorenz alleged that according to Business Insider, Mazika earned $5,000 in 1 week by pivoting the content on her YouTube channel to nonstop trial coverage and analysis. She also claimed that Umbrella Guy earned up to $80,000 last month, according to an estimate by social analytics firm Social Blade. Included in the paragraph was a parenthetical statement reading Mazika and Umbrella Guy did not respond to requests for comments. Both Mazika and Umbrella Guy refuted the statement, saying Lorenz never reached out to them prior to publication of her story. This says, I didn't respond to request to comment. I know I've gotten a lot of emails over the past 2 months, but I've just double-checked your name at Taylor Lorenz, and I see no email from you, Mazika called out the Washington Post columnist. Also, I didn't suddenly pivot. I started covering this before the trial began. Mazika accused Lorenz of mischaracterizing Business Insider's coverage of her, which she too thought was unfair. She later provided an update claiming Lorenz reached out to her for comment after the piece was already published, and I had to call it out. This is so dumb, Mazika wrote. Lorenz appeared to acknowledge Mazika's public complaint, tweeting, "Thanks for replying," and that she would love to incorporate your comments. That Umbrella Guy similarly called out the Post article. We just read this, so I'm just going to pass over that. The Washington Post article appeared to have been stealth-edited, removing the claim that Lorenz had reached out to the YouTubers for comment without an editor's note acknowledging the change. After Fox News reached out for comment, the Post issued a correction on Lorenz's report, reading, a previous version of the story inaccurately attributed to Depp Representative Adam Wallman, a quote describing how he contacted some internet influencers. That quote has been removed. The story has also been amended to note the Post's attempts to reach Elite Mazika and That Umbrella Guy for comment. Previous versions omitted or inaccurately described these attempts. The Post later issued a second, lengthier correction, admitting it removed the incorrect statement from the story but did not note its removal, a violation of our corrections policy. The correction did not address whether Lorenz or an editor made the stealth edit. When asked by Fox News, the Post replied, "That's something we discuss. That's not something we discuss on the record." Fox News also reached out to Mazika and Umbrella Guy for comment. Lorenz has been criticized for her journalism ethics. In 2020, she repeatedly publicized the 15-year-old daughter of Trump aide Kellyanne Conway for the teen's outspoken TikTok posts and allegedly reached out directly to the minor without her parents' permission. That's gross that she did that. Sorry, but you don't reach... that's everybody knows that. Like, even people who aren't journalists know you don't reach out to minors and ask for their opinion without adults' permission. I would never even want to contact a minor. Conway recently tortured Lorenz for obsessing over her daughter, referring to her as Peter Pan. In 2021, Lorenz falsely accused business tech entrepreneur Mark Andreessen of using the R slur, which she admitted was an error. In April, she doxed the identity of a popular Twitter personality, Libs, of TikTok, just days after she decried the online harassment of women. Lorenz was ridiculed for her report last month, alleging Nina Jankowicz, who was set to be the executive director of the Biden administration's so-called Disinformation Governance Board, was the victim of right-wing attacks as the Department of Homeland Security was putting a pause on the initiative following weeks of intense backlash. She also put an article about the founder of Oculus and totally misrepresented it. I think I might have saved a screenshot of that, but I'm not sure. He did like a whole... I think I took pictures of it on my phone at least, and I can read it to you. Yeah, so basically that woman is crazy. Well, not crazy, but her ethics are... I mean, she just makes no sense. She said she was getting attacked and then literally doxed some girl on TikTok. Like, I'm trying to find... Oh, here we go. Oliver Darcy. He's from CNN. So, okay, hold on. Wait. Did he post Oliver Darcy? All right, I'm going to have to go to Oliver Darcy first. And then... All right. Let's do that. Oliver. So she started arguing with Oliver Darcy. Oops. Here we go. In a series of tweets, Lorenz blames her editor for having inserted the error into her story and says she is the victim of a bad faith campaign. Oliver Darcy's from CNN, if I didn't say that already. People like to search for the truth. Mainstream doesn't provide that any longer. I agree. They have to stick to scripted narratives, so we go out elsewhere. I like to listen to all sides, same. And I like listening to people who I find relatable and likable. And I like being able to talk about it with people. And I think there's plenty of experts on YouTube who can do just as good as him. She's the victim, just like Amber Turd. Exactly. So she says, last Thursday, an incorrect line was added to a story of mine before publishing due to a miscommunication with the editor. I did not write the line and was not aware it was inserted. I asked for it to be removed right after the story went live. The line was a sentence saying that I reached out to 2 YouTubers for comment for my story. The inclusion of the YouTubers was only in passing, citing another outlet's reporting. After the story went live, I reached out to both YouTubers mentioned in that sentence just to be extra sure there wasn't some sort of commentary they wanted to add. Neither provided comment for the story, and both continued to post about me. The mention of these 2 individuals was not remotely the focus of my story. It's become a huge distraction. I spoke to over 2 dozen creators for my story about the trial, along with other experts who are quoted in the piece. This should have been a small correction for a miscommunication, but it turned into a multi-day media cycle intentionally aimed at discrediting the Washington Post and me. We have a responsibility to recognize these bad faith campaigns for what they are and when these sorts of things do and do not warrant acknowledgement. I'm extremely happy at the Washington Post. I chose to work here because it's incredible. It's really an incredible place filled with amazing, talented journalists and editors. Bad actors recognize the Washington Post's earning desire to hear and incorporate feedback, and they exploit that. I know that the stuff I write about and go through is hugely unfamiliar to the vast majority of people in the media. I have a great hope that all of us can learn from this experience. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm starving. I wanted to eat a fishy, but I didn't want to hurt anyone's ears. Where was I? Oh, so then she started talking about Oliver Darcy. So this guy was talking about Oliver Darcy and said his journalistic approach is totally out of touch with the current media environment, which is kind of problematic for a media reporter. And Taylor says exactly, it's a deep ignorance coupled with a superiority complex that so many in the media have that makes so many reporters unfit to cover today's media landscape. This chicken annoys the hell out of me. I just can't stand her. Hi, Hooligan Jennifer. Nice to see you. Ugh. All right. I added the correction. An old pinned tweet. What's this? Anyway, so it gets even funnier. So I'm like, so then after reading this, I was like, God damn, I have to cough again. Sorry. So after reading all this, I was like, I kind of want to look into like why journalists don't like YouTube. And so let me see if I sent it to myself. I got it somewhere. Hold on. It's on here. Give me 1 second. Here's the Oculus. Oh, here we go. So this is kind of funny. Oh, darn it. That's not the one I was looking for. Wait a minute. There's another one. Oh, I also wanted to do the Natalie, the lawyer chick thing. So let me put that there. Sorry, I'm getting there. I can't find it. Oh, wait. It might be in my history. Hold on, guys. I'm all over the place. I save shit in so many different places that it's like, no. All right. I don't know what I do with it, but all right. Well, I'll explain it to you. So I typed in, actually, I could probably do it on my phone right now and get it up. Why do journalists hate YouTubers? Because I just like wanted to see like, you know, their feelings about it, see if there was anyone who wrote an article about it. And I opened the article, and the article was written by Taylor Lorenz like years ago. And I thought it was so funny. I'm like, what are the odds of that? Like, it was literally years ago an article about why journalists don't like I can't find it now. It's gonna drive me crazy. I swore I saved it, but I didn't. Let's type in Taylor Lorenz, see if it comes up. If not, I'll read. No. Never mind. Well, anyway, she worked for another place a couple years ago, like the Daily Beast or something like that. And I literally typed in like journalists, like why journalists and YouTubers don't like each other, why journalists don't like YouTubers. And it was literally an article written by her, and I couldn't believe it, but I can't find it. So we're going to talk about let me see. Oh, this wasn't the one I wanted to do. Oh, he mentions Taylor Lorenz. Okay, maybe that's what it was. All right, I got that wrong. Sorry. All right, so anyway, I typed in why do journalists. I do have it. I typed in why do like YouTubers and journalists hate each other, and this guy wrote this article. It says there was an interesting discussion on Twitter the other day about whether publishers should pay their sources. And when I say interesting, I mean a lot of antagonized mudslinging. From the perspective of media trends, the topic illustrated a number of fascinating things about how the world of media has changed. It all started with this tweet from tech culture reporter Taylor Lorenz from the Daily Beast. So, of course, I look up this topic and she's involved in it. It amazes me how many YouTubers think they should be paid for doing interviews with news outlets. I'd say about 40% of the time I reach out to influencers and they ask about compensation. Like, are you crazy? The initial tweet then sparked a very emotional discussion with journalists, basically telling YouTubers that they were idiots. Well, and apparently every moron on Twitter agrees this society is doomed. Basically, if you're a teen YouTuber and you don't see the value in shaping your narrative and public image by doing strategic press, you better hire a good PR person because you're effed. And it got really bad when Taylor, later that day, tweeted an example. She wrote this: Me. So you just sent out a racist tweet to your 400K followers. I'm doing a story on this. Can you offer a comment or provide context? YouTuber for $5,000. The guy probably said that just because they don't want to talk to mainstream media. Like, nobody trusts mainstream media. But I believe the racist comment thing she ended up apologizing for because she was wrong. As you can see at this point, it's no longer about getting paid or not. Now it's suddenly about a journalist attacking someone who is an extremist, and the result was an alt-right community got in on it, and from this point it all went down the drain. By the end of the day, Taylor had received both RAPE and death threats and basically had become a target of an alt-right campaign. This, of course, is completely unacceptable. Nobody should be facing harassment like this regardless of what they tweeted, but it also distorted the discussion in ways that make this whole thing rather pointless. So let's take a step back and talk about this concept. Instead, let's ignore these specific tweets and just talk about the role of media in relation to YouTubers. First, let's talk about the negative press. The fight between the old and the new. One of the really big problems that exists today between journalists and YouTubers is that the former is often looking at the bad side of things. For instance, throughout 2017, many major newspapers focused their attention on finding obscure examples of extremism on YouTube, trying to turn this into a much bigger scandal than what it really is. Let me give an example of this. Here's a quote from one of the many articles about YouTube and Facebook from 2017. Facebook admitted that it's found about 100,000 in ad spending from June 2015 to May 2017 on the platform connected to inauthentic accounts that likely operated out of Russia. Google too faced loads of backlash after brands realized their advertising was appearing alongside racist and extremist videos on YouTube and other sites, therefore marketing them as supporters of hate. The problem here is twofold. First, this narrative does not in any way represent reality. While the story is technically true, would you report that someone spent $100,000 on fake news ads on Facebook? This accounts for 0.00000015% of Facebook's total revenue. Basically, this is like going into a supermarket in a very big mall and then you discover one package of pasta that is past its sell by date. Is that acceptable? No, of course not, but it also doesn't represent what the supermarket is about. It's the same thing on YouTube. YouTubers are incredibly angry at the traditional journalism industry and how we have misrepresented what is really going on with YouTube. Sure, you can always find examples of hate speech or racism on YouTube, but you really have to look for it. Normal people almost never see it. The result of this is that the media has been damaging the perception of ordinary YouTubers through no fault of most YouTubers, and YouTube has then in turn had to make some serious errors in the way to try and fix the problem, which has resulted in blocking content that should never be blocked. One example of this is Enter Elsium. He is a Let's Player who produces very family friendly and brand safe videos like this one. It's like a kid video. Well, I guess that's it. The ad apocalypse has finally hit me. Of course, it only flagged as unsuitable when I set it to go live, so I'll miss 90% of the views, which happened in the first day. I feel like I have to fight at Team YouTube rather than being in it together these days. Some of his videos were demonetized temporarily because of these new algorithms. Mind you, YouTubers very much blame YouTube for this because the algorithms they made to fix the problem with extremist content are incredibly flawed in every way possible. Instead of focus on the context, they seem to be focusing on just catching individual words. So in this case, maybe it's being blocked because his video is about flying a World War II bomber, but nobody knows because YouTube is already completely failing at telling people why something is blocked. But YouTubers also blame the traditional media because you created this problem to begin with. Don't get me wrong, extremism has no place in YouTube, and YouTube should do a better job of getting rid of it, but the press took this into a completely unreasonable space where it in turn was essentially a minor problem into a year-long negative press campaign about YouTube as a whole. Hold on. I'm gonna skip over a lot of this because basically he's just saying because of their articles and what they're saying, it has caused a lot of collateral damage for YouTubers because YouTubers are starting to block stupid words that would have to do with cartoons, but they would take it as a World War II bomber. It might be a cartoon that has a World War II bomber in it, but because it says the word bomber in it, they would block it. So what happens is then the live will get shut down and they'll miss a lot of they have to wait for it to get approved. So basically they'll put the video in and then it'll be blocked and they have to wait for it to get approved. So usually on the first day when it's out, that's when they get the most views, and then they won't because it can't be monetized right away. So an example, recently a YouTuber did something really idiotic, which was obviously something we needed to talk about, but the media instead talked about it like this. Logan Paul's Suicide Forest video is where YouTube culture has always been headed. So this one person did a stupid video and talked about stupid stuff, and then they tried to make it like YouTube culture is headed that way over this one person. Instead of focusing on the actual problem, New York Magazine extrapolated this to be about YouTube as a whole. This is not an acceptable way of reporting this story. Remember MTV's Jackass? It was just as stupid, but you wouldn't start to report that every TV channel was like this, nor would you report that TV advertising wasn't brand safe. And because of this, it's no surprise that YouTubers are really, really angry at both YouTube and traditional journalists. You have turned their lives into a living hell. The second problem is that most of the stories about YouTube are massively flawed. For instance, we have seen many articles about how an extremist with 250,000 views is being monetized on YouTube with loads of money. Almost every single one of these stories is wrong in deeply fundamental ways. First of all, the amount that journalists think YouTubers are paid per view is massively inaccurate. I wrote about this almost a year ago, but I still see a problem with almost every single article about YouTube today. For instance, The Guardian wrote, the ads help fund payments to the people who post the videos with 1,000 clicks worth about, I have no idea how much that is and what kind of money it is, but experts estimate this could have been worth so-and-so to extremists. The problem here is this is just not true, and reporting this harms good YouTubers in two fundamental ways. First of all, it harms them in the same ways before in that they become collateral damage in yet another negative press story, diminishing all the good things they're doing. Secondly, it directly hurts their ability to monetize and get people to support them. For instance, enter LCM, who mentioned earlier he has a total about 75 million views since he started, and according to the Guardian's calculation, this would mean he would have earned 450,000 from YouTube, which would be a pretty good paycheck, even if you stretch that out over a couple of years. So has he earned that much from YouTube? No, of course not. In fact, YouTube is earning him so little money that if it wasn't for Patreon and Twitch, he wouldn't be a YouTuber today. So then that's just, I'm not going to continue to read that, but you get the point. And then, should you pay your sources? The second part of this is the question of whether publishers should pay their sources, and almost universally, journalists agree that even saying something like this would be sacrilege. As Taylor tweeted, also shocked that everyone apparently thinks news outlets pay every source person quoted in this story. Where the F would a news company even get this? The whole country needs journalism 101 class. On the surface of things, these seem like a very sensible thing to say, because why would newspapers pay their sources when you're giving people exposure? The whole premise of this is flawed. The problem we see with traditional media is that we live a bubble. For anyone inside this bubble, we have one set of assumptions and rules, but for anyone outside it, we have another. So basically it goes on to say that, like, certain experts, actually I'll just read this because it makes sense. If a newspaper writes a story about something health related and they reach out to a doctor for an expert opinion, they don't expect to pay that doctor for her time, even though they're not actually promoting her, since the story isn't about that one person, right? But let me give another example. Imagine that New York Times wanted to write a story about something health related that is happening in Los Angeles, but they don't have the insight needed to write the story, so the New York Times reaches out to a journalist from LA Times who has already worked on the story to contribute to it. Should New York Times then pay LA Times journalists for his time? I don't know what you think about this, but my perspective on this is obviously the New York Times should pay LA Times journalists, because journalists should not work for newspapers for free. Or put it in another way, here's an altered version of Taylor's original tweet that I've replaced YouTubers with journalists. It amazes me how many journalists think they should be paid for doing interviews with news outlets. I'd say about 40% of them I reach out to journalists. They ask about compensation, like, are you crazy? So basically it's saying, like, depending on the situation, should you or shouldn't be paid. Factor time. I'm not going to read this whole report, this thing, because it's a lot, but he just goes on about if you should pay and examples for why you should pay. Okay, yeah. But I just thought that was interesting that I looked up, like, battle between them. All right, and the last thing before I move on, I wanted to show this. So this is a lawyer chick, Natalie Lawyer Chick, I think her name is. She's a YouTuber. She made some really good points, and I really like this article. So, mainstream media reached out to her for comment, and she gave them her comment about the trial, and then they said they didn't want it because I guess, I don't know, mainstream media is heavily Amber Heard. The jury had no choice but to rule against Amber Heard. In examining the law and the facts, the reason the jury found in favor of Johnny Depp is clear. Amber Heard was... Hey, Lex. Hey, Kid Bailey. Thank you for coming. Lex, hi. Sorry, I saw your message, but I couldn't answer you, Lex, because I was middle of talking, so I was like, oh, shit. But I see what you said, and I'm going to check it out. Anyway, in examining the law and facts, the reason that the jury found in favor of Johnny Depp is clear. Amber Heard was not telling the truth. Before the trial began, I paid little attention to the fact that Johnny Depp was suing his ex-wife, Amber Heard, for defamation of character outside of the media reports. I had the impression that Depp and Heard were involved in a toxic and dysfunctional relationship. I saw pictures of bruises to Heard's face and assumed that Depp, was just one on the growing list of male celebrities exposed for being abusive at the peak of the Me Too movement. When the trial began, I myself was immersed in a double homicide trial. I didn't have time to pay attention to this saga. As the media attention around the trial grew, my subscribers to my YouTube channel, Natalie Lawyer Chick, began to request that I cover this case. So when my own trial was done, I began to catch up on Depp vs. Heard. The entire trial was fascinating, but not for the reasons that I expected. It was exceptionally difficult for a celebrity to win a defamation case. Like all other litigants, Depp had to prove that Heard defamed him by a preponderance of the evidence. However, as a celebrity, Depp had the additional burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that Heard acted with actual malice in defaming him. The jury needed to have a firm belief that Heard made statements with the knowledge that they were false or with a willful disregard for the truth. Heard's credibility was crucial in deciding whether she defamed Depp in reaching their decision. The jury was instructed to determine whether she was credible or not based on several factors, including whether her testimony was inconsistent with or contradicted other evidence. Based on the rubric provided to the jury and the facts actually presented at trial, I came to a jarring conclusion. Amber Heard was not credible. For example, Heard's allegation that Depp trashed their penthouse and caused bruising to her face in May of 2016 was contradicted by testimony from 3 police officers, body cam footage, and the front desk manager of the residence. None of these witnesses appeared to have motive to testify in any favor of Depp. Mind you, all of them people were not allowed to testify in the UK case. Every single person that she just named. So if anyone brings up the UK case to you and says that, oh, I read the UK case, it's bullshit. Anyway. That it's only a microcosm of the inconsistencies and contradictions throughout the trial. As the trial unfolded, it became clear either most of the witnesses were lying or Amber Heard was. This was not an issue of memory, it was an issue of honesty. Heard's attorneys argued that these contradictions didn't matter. They told the jury that even if they did not believe Heard for some of the incidents, but believe Heard for at least one of the incidents, Depp must lose. However, believing Heard for even one of the incidents was difficult because there were inconsistencies in all of the incidents. These contradictions were so pervasive that they appeared to be the result of a purposeful deception. That the jury awarded Depp over $10 million in damages is proof that they felt strongly about the heinousness of all those falsehoods. There are no perfect victims, and even when the most credible people will have inconsistencies here or there, however, juries are usually able to sort through the facts and decide whether the allegations are true, even with minor witness inconsistencies. What happened in Depp vs. Heard was not reflective of the insignificant inconsistencies of genuine victims. Heard's credibility issues were far outside the norm, and to ignore them would be dishonest. Therefore, the call to believe all women as a solution to the problem with physical and sexual abuse is alarming, dangerous, and counterproductive. This is best explained if we outright state the inverse: disbelieve all men. This framework asks for the public, the media, and the courts to disregard presumption of innocence. Oh no, I don't agree Johnny was an angel either, Kid Bailey. But I don't think he was an angel, but I feel like Amber was an instigator, and I feel like she was she started the fights. And while I can't say for sure that he hit her, but in all the stories where she claimed that he hit her and broke her nose and all that, there was many inconsistencies in the evidence, and she looked fine the next day, and and she had lots of reason to do this. She tipped off the media. She said she didn't want the media involved, but she tipped off the media, so she had an agenda for sure. Let me put my glasses on. It was hard up between the two. Yeah, I mean, I think they were both definitely toxic for sure. But she has a lot. She even has her own history of domestic abuse, and the only person that really said that they shouldn't even say he was abusive. Ellen Barkin, she said he tossed. Yeah, they're all scared of YouTube journalism for sure. They are. Oh yay, Fruit Loops with glitter! I'm glad you're all caught up. Where was I? Oh, so therefore, to believe all women as a solution to the problem with physical and sexual abuse is alarming, dangerous, and counterproductive. Totally agree. This is best explained if we outright state the inverse: disbelieve all men. This framework asks for the public, the media, and the courts to disregard presumption of innocence. The problem with allegations of sexual abuse being swept under the rug cannot be solved with treating those accused of abuse as though they are guilty without the accused being given the opportunity to be heard in a court of law. Historically, when the popular zeitgeist has coalesced, I have no idea if I'm saying that right, around an automatic assumption of guilt, the consequences have been disastrous and irreversible. In 1955, when a white woman accused Emmett Till, a 14-year-old black boy, of sexually harassing her, Till was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered. It took until 2017 for that woman to admit that her allegations were false. We still see the effects of that case today. So right that it shouldn't be a gender thing. It should be an individual case thing. It should be looked into. I am so sick of this gender stuff because abuse is abuse. Anyone can be abused. And it's just it's just I don't agree with it. Where was he? The girl who said it? Fruit Loops? I don't know. I can look it up. Hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Wow. But still, I mean, that's a great example of, humans are humans and humans lie. Like women lie and men lie. So we can't just. Where was I? Carolyn Bryant, I think her name was. Carolyn, I think it was. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I mean, I know the numbers of, men to women abuse is much higher, but a lot of men would never report that they're being abused because it's men. Men don't want to look weak. But it happens a lot. I know plenty of women who beat up on their boyfriends. I've heard stories a million times. Because they know men won't hit back. Whether it's, all the time or not. It's just what it is. Like abuse is abuse. And I think I've known people who lie about it. I've known people who, like, even somebody in my family, I'm not really going to get into it, but lied about somebody hitting them when they didn't. And, caused a lot of grief for a lot of people. And it's very common. It's more common than it should be. And I think there shouldn't be a gender thing. And I think it should just be, you know, isolated incidents, I guess you could say. Like, yeah, I think there's probably a lot more men being abused that don't come forward for sure. Like, definitely. I know I've heard so many, like, I've seen it myself, because women think men will ever do anything. So, they think that they can. Anyway, where were we? I have represented both men and women who have been wrongfully accused of abuse. While most abuse victims are truthful, wrongful accusations do happen. It is only through the presumption of innocence and fair trial that the accused has any hope of clearing their name. Instead of asking the public to believe all women, we should ask for accusation of abuse to be taken seriously, investigated thoroughly, and for the accused to be given a fair trial. Also, what was I going to say? Sometimes like a small lie turns, you have to keep lying and lying and it steamrolls and gets out of hand, and then people have to keep lying because they can't backtrack it. Things get out of hand because of that. could be something small that just blows up and you keep going with it because you don't want to admit that you're wrong. Oh, really? You read an article that some domestic violence centers have been receiving more calls now since the trial? Wow. It is scary to think about. The media response to this trial has been fraught with concern that this case will have a chilling effect on women seeking help. It may, but not for the reasons the media says it will. This case has had a chilling effect on abuse victims because anyone who watched the trial learned that Amber Heard may have deliberately created tales of horrific abuse to gain leverage in her divorce proceedings. Potential victims may be afraid of being stereotyped and disbelieved, not because Heard told the truth and wasn't believed, but because after having her claims carefully vetted in a court of law, Heard may have lied in such an egregious way that given ammunition to bad faith actors seeking to discredit true victims. The media spectacle in this case began in 2016 when Heard, accompanied by her publicist, filed for a protective order against Depp. In the trial, the jury heard evidence which implied that Heard herself or a member of her team may have alerted the paparazzi giant when she sought the protective order. In addition, the jury was treated to Heard directly asking them on the stand to look to the media coverage surrounding the case. This is a completely inappropriate request in a trial where the jury was ordered not to watch any of the media coverage to now allege that the jury was tainted by the media coverage where Heard herself may have initiated the media circus and certainly improperly asked the jury to look to the media is confounding. This also ignores that much of the mainstream media coverage surrounding the case was supportive of her. There's been no evidence that the media coverage influenced the jury. However, there has been ample evidence in the trial itself that Heard made false and defamatory statements about Depp with actual malice. The jury had no choice but to find against her. And that was her statement, which I thought was great. I think she did. Yeah, I think Kid Bailey, like I said, it could go both ways for sure. I think abuse should be this isolated incident and not like this. I feel like I'm gonna piss people off by saying this, but like this, genderizing it just makes me mad because I honestly see a lot more abuse. Like personally, I've seen a lot more female to male abuse. Not constantly, but I've seen it happen way more than I've seen male to female, if that makes sense. So, like, I know I'm not discounting any women at all because I've heard lots of women with stories, and I think a lot of women, I think a lot of people in general probably have some isolated incidents where everyone can understand, but personally in my life I've seen a lot more female to male isolated incidents, although recently since joining the YouTube community I've heard a lot of stories of females who have been in males abusing them in toxic relationships. So that's my account to it. So I think it's pretty, like, from my perspective, it's kind of like, evened out in my eyes. Like it should just be treated as non-genderized and isolated incidents. Everyone should be taken seriously, and every case should be taken seriously, and everyone should get their day in court. I think, that's a huge deal, and I think people also need to take, if you are in that kind of situation, to make sure you document everything. And this stuff, one day you might need it. Yeah, a man's life shouldn't be forever ruined by just an accusation. I agree. I watched some Amber Heard movies. I got a crush on her. Well, you better run for the hills, dude. You better run for the hills. She's not the one to have a crush on. So, but she's pretty, so I get it. For many years it wasn't considered abuse if a female hit a male. Exactly. It wasn't even um you know, it was Amber's definitely beautiful on the outside. And holy smoke, yeah, she's very pretty. She's hot. I'll give you that, she's hot. But yeah, I mean it's almost still not considered abuse when females hit males. You know what I mean? And a male usually won't do anything, but I think that's why there's a lot of incidents where a guy just snaps. Because you have a female thinking that she could just, you know, do that, and it's never like nobody ever deserves to be killed. But that's really risking your life by beating up on somebody, or like, you have to realize that you could be putting yourself in a really dangerous situation if you're like constantly abusing someone or hitting them or, you know. And then there's one more thing that I want to talk about, but I think I closed out of my stuff. Hopefully I didn't. Hold on. All right, so there is this. No, hold on. So there's this chick. I thought this was interesting. There hasn't been really a lot of true crime stuff going on, but I thought this was interesting. And no, actually, we probably should be grateful that there's not a lot of big true crime stuff in the news. But I thought this was interesting because I'm not talking about not the Grinstead case right now, but I will give an update on that though. So Ryan Dukes was found not guilty of like every charge besides concealing a body, but then the prosecutors lapped on a whole bunch of other charges, I guess, because they probably felt like to the family that it may have been unfair that you know and wasn't there an update about Bo Dukes, Lex? Oh yeah, in another county. They did in another county because wouldn't it have been what's it called? Double jeopardy if they did in the same county? Or wouldn't it be double jeopardy in general? Hold on a second. Sorry guys. The Tara Grinstead case. Have you ever followed that, Kid Bailey? So it's this woman who was like a teacher and a beauty queen, and she was from Georgia. This is a long time ago. This happened like 2005, I think. It was like, I don't know. It was a while ago. And should happen due to statute of limitations. Oh yeah, there's statute of limitations on it. Yeah. Well, then if there's a statute of limitations, then he probably won't be charged. They could argue that, but she was killed. This teacher. I did a video about it, so if you want to go back and watch the video, but I'll give you a quick little summary. But Tara Grinstead case, there's a video I did on it. She did a lot of beauty queen stuff. She had relations with a couple people in town, so it was kind of like, who done it type thing. And then years later, this guy, Bo Dukes, spilled his guts to his friend that he helped his friend hide her body. And then he spilled to his girlfriend. And then his girlfriend's like mom, I guess, turned him in, and he admitted to the police that he had helped conceal her body, but ratted out this other guy, Ryan Dukes, and said that he killed her. And Ryan confessed, but Ryan has like really bad anxiety, and he was afraid of Dukes at the time. Well, that's kind of the thing. So Ryan was charged with her murder, and Bo was charged with like concealing her death. And then yeah, most people believe Bo did because, all right, so Bo has a lot of history of like RAPE and like violent attacks on women, and Ryan was not like that at all. So a lot of people felt Bo was the one who did it. They went to trial because Ryan said it was a false confession and that Bo did it, and Ryan was exonerated of all the charges besides help concealing a body or whatever. But now there's no accessory charge in Georgia. Interesting. So, but he still has the charge of concealing her body, right? So, anyway, where was I? I forget where I was at. He gets exonerated, and now that he's been found not guilty on all those charges, the DA is trying to charge him with a couple more charges in another county. But it shouldn't happen because there's a statute of limitations on the charges, and I think one of the charges could be counted as double jeopardy, or maybe a few of them. So yeah, they're trying to get him on more charges, I guess, because they're trying to appease the family who probably thinks it's unfair. But I think they got the wrong person. I think it was Bo who did it. But this one I thought was an interesting one to bring up because there's this. All right, so the woman suspected of fatally shooting an elite cyclist, Anna Moria Mo Wilson, in Texas last month was seen at Newark. All right, so hold on. There should be. So there was this woman, Anna Mariah. Is it Mariah? Okay, here we go. Mariah Wilson came from a family of athletes. The 25-year-old elite cyclist was preparing for another race before she was killed. Ashley Merchant should be able to fight that. Oh yeah, I agree. Ashley she did a great job on this one too. So, oh yes, where is she? Yeah, well, the last she was heard of was she was in New York. So she's like they think she may have left the country, but I wanted to bring this up because I think it's a huge deal. Everyone said in the Suzanne Morphew case how Suzanne just couldn't easily leave the country and they would know because she didn't have ID. When it's pretty fairly easy to, in my opinion, just she hopped on a plane as a completely different person, not under her name, and went to New York, and they believe she may have left the country. But so you know what? I'm gonna play this real quick, and I'm gonna run to the bathroom while I'm playing this. You guys can watch this. Actually, I gotta stop. I have to unshare my screen and redo it because the audio, I accidentally hit the audio button. All right, I'm gonna play this real quick for y'all. Isn't there? Oh, there we go.
She is snaking through into the finish. This is Mariah Wilson.
Anna Mariah Wilson was considered one of the best gravel racing cyclists in the world. She was known as Mo.
The champ is in the house. This is Mariah Wilson.
On May 11th, she was in Austin, Texas, preparing for an upcoming race. Austin police say that night, Mo Wilson was found murdered in the bathroom of a friend's home. She was shot multiple times. According to a police affidavit, on the day Wilson was murdered, she went to a public swimming pool and had dinner with fellow cyclist Colin Strickland. The two had a brief romantic relationship in the fall of 2021 while Strickland was on a break from his relationship with Kaitlin Marie Armstrong, who he had dated for about 3 years. The police affidavit states that Armstrong was furious and shaking in anger when she learned of Strickland's romantic relationship with Wilson in January. Austin police say surveillance video shows Armstrong's car pulling up next to the house around the time Wilson was murdered, and that a gun discovered in the house where she lived with Strickland is potentially the same firearm. The day after the murder, Kaitlin Armstrong was interviewed by investigators and presented with the evidence. The police affidavit described Armstrong was very still and guarded as investigators detailed what they had discovered. She then requested to leave. A week later, U.S. Marshals announced they were assisting in a search for Armstrong, but the 34-year-old woman has disappeared since her interview with police.
Happy birthday, BWR champion!
Just weeks before her murder, Mo Wilson was celebrating with friends after winning the Belgian waffle ride in California. These are the last images of her competing in a sport she dominated. Wilson is described as a role model, yet shy and compassionate, an athlete who developed an intense passion for cycling while growing up on the bike trails of Vermont.
And Jake, in a statement to the Austin American-Statesman newspaper, Colin Strickland says that he cannot adequately express the torture and pain that he feels for his proximity to this case. And Mo Wilson's family says that they want to clarify that they do not believe she was involved in a romantic relationship with anyone at the time of her murder. Jake?
So, supposedly, I didn't trust your screwdriver and saying, well, apparently, you got a case and it's not working, so. Yeah, you don't have to have a proper physical ID to fly. You can literally have a copy. You could take someone's ID and copy it and bring it with you, or like something that just has like your name on it. So she was shot and killed at a friend's home in Austin. They're now, the U.S. Marshals are now on the hunt for a 34-year-old woman suspected of her murder, and police investigators are digging into Wilson's past relationships with the suspect's boyfriend. Wilson's family is mourning the loss of their beautiful daughter and sister who excelled as a biker and skier. Mariah was a talented, kind, and caring young woman. Her life was taken from her before she had the opportunity to achieve everything she dreamed of. Here's what we know so far about Wilson, why police believe she may have been targeted, and her short-lived success in the burgeoning sport of gravel racing. She was a star skier in her younger years, but recently became a high-level cyclist. She particularly excelled at gravel racing in a new category of cycling that sits in a hybrid middle ground between road cycling and mountain biking. A profile in Villa News published the day she died referred to as the winningest woman in America off-road scene. She had won nearly 10 races this year, including Shasta Gravel Hugger and Rock Cobbler in California, according to the article. Last month, she won the 137-mile Belgian waffle ride by 25 minutes over the second-place finisher. Wilson wrote about her racing experiences on her Instagram and in a Substack newsletter. In March, she reflected on her second-place finish at the Mid-South race and reflected briefly on her rise to the top of the field. This race was my first time in my career. I can call it a career at this point. I truly felt like I had a target on my back, she wrote. Was I nervous? Heck yeah, but more than anything, I was excited. At the time of her death, Wilson was just days from participating in the Gravel Locos Bice race. The day after the race, an event organizer remembered her on Facebook as a role model, a shy, compassionate person, a spirited tactical racer, and a competitor that genuinely cared about those competing against you. Wilson recently moved back to her state of Vermont. While growing up, she was a consummate athlete, skiing in the winter and mountain biking in the summer. Her father, Eric Wilson, skied for the U.S. national ski team, and her aunt Laura was a Nordic skier and competed in the Olympics. She, too, picked up the sport competitively. All right, I'm going to skip all this because this is a lot of her career. Okay, how the shooting unfolded. Thanks, Matt. See you tomorrow. Ask him about the screwdriver when I see him. All right, I will. On May 11th, Wilson was shot multiple times while staying at a friend's home in Austin ahead of the Gravel Locos race in Hico, according to an arrest affidavit filed in the Travis County District Court. Kaitlin Marie Armstrong, a 34-year-old Austin resident, is wanted for homicide in the killing and is now a fugitive, the U.S. Marshal says. Both women had recently been in romantic relationships with the same man, 35-year-old professional cyclist Colin Strickland, and messages and interviews with the tipster suggest jealousy could be a potential motive, according to the affidavit. I think that's the woman who shot her. On the day of the killing, Wilson told her friend that she was going for an afternoon swim with Strickland. The affidavit says, in detail, Strickland confirmed in an interview with police. They had dinner together afterward, and then he dropped her off at her friend's home. Strickland said he did not go inside. Police responded to the home later that evening, shortly before 10 p.m., and found Wilson with multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. So was this chick following her? Like, how did the chick end up at her friend's house? Assume we will need a passport or a special driver's license to fly within the United States. Yeah. Well, I don't know how she got out of the country not under her own name. Like, it has to be pretty easy to... Or unless she took somebody else's passport. Unless she just went under her own name, maybe. But it said that she flew to New York not under her own name. Where was I? The shooting did not appear to be a random act, police said in the May 14th news release. Police issued a homicide warrant on May 17th for Armstrong. The affidavit for her arrest points in part to a video surveillance obtained by investigators that show a vehicle similar to hers near the home shortly before Wilson's body was found. In addition, investigators... where was it? Investigators that shows a vehicle similar to hers near the home shortly before Wilson's body was found. Okay, so her video surveillance, so her car was on video surveillance near where the body was found. In addition, investigators compared ballistics from the scene with those of bullets test fired from a firearm Strickland had recently purchased for Armstrong, and the potential that the same firearm was involved is significant, the document says. So a guy just bought her a gun? Per the affidavit, Strickland told police he has not had contact with Armstrong since May 13th. Within 24 hours of Wilson's death, officers from the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force apprehended Armstrong in connection with an unrelated arrest warrant and spoke to her. However, Austin police said they then learned Armstrong's arrest warrant was not valid and told her she was free to leave. Armstrong requested to end the interview and left after detectives began confronting her about the security camera video that placed her car near the crime scene, the affidavit states. So she just got up and left. And they said that they couldn't hold her because there was like something wrong with the paperwork or the dates or something. Wilson had a past relationship with the suspect's boyfriend. In a statement to the Austin American-Statesman, Strickland said he had a brief romantic relationship with Wilson from late October to early November 2021 while he was separated from Armstrong. Strickland and Armstrong reconciled and resumed their relationship about a month later, he told the paper. His relationship with Wilson then became platonic and professional, and he considered her a close friend. Oh, God. So basically, this guy was sleeping with this other girl for a short time. Then he got back with Armstrong, and then while he was still with Armstrong, went and hung out with this other chick. Which, I mean, it doesn't warrant murder, but I imagine that it was, kind of messed up that he went and hung out with somebody that he recently had been seeing before and was claiming it was platonic. I mean, I would be mad about that too, but not mad enough to kill somebody. But there's no way to adequately express the regret and torture. Not that it's funny, but I was laughing because I would never be able to kill somebody over something like that. But there's no way to adequately express the regret and torture I feel about my proximity to this horrible crime, Strickland said, per the newspaper. I'm sorry, I simply cannot make sense of this unfathomable situation. The affidavit cites a tipster who alleged Armstrong came to believe Strickland and Wilson's romantic relationship was ongoing as of January 2022. Oh, so it possibly could have been messing around with her and she found out. Strickland admitted to trying to hide his communications with Wilson from Armstrong by changing Wilson's name in his phone and deleting texts, the affidavit says. Armstrong had contacted Wilson several times and in one instance told her to stay away from Strickland. One of Wilson's friends told investigators, according to the affidavit. Wilson was not in any romantic relationship at the time of her death, her family said in a statement. While we will not elaborate about the ongoing investigation, we do feel it's important to clarify that at the time of her death, those closest to her clearly understood directly from Mariah that she was not in a romantic relationship with anyone, the family said. And then, let me go to the second article. So now, this chick, the chick who shot her, she was last seen at Newark Liberty International Airport just one day after the Austin police obtained a warrant for her arrest, according to the U.S. Marshal Service. Kaitlin Marie Armstrong, 34, was at the airport on May 18th, the U.S. Marshal said in a news release Monday, 4 days after she departed Austin, where Wilson was killed. However, no reservations were made under her name, the Marshal said, citing a search of outbound flights at the New York airport. Armstrong is wanted in connection to Wilson's death in Austin on May 11th, which authorities suggest was motivated by jealousy. Wilson had previously dated Armstrong's boyfriend. Kaitlin Armstrong is accused of a very serious crime that she needs to answer for, Susan Hammerlau, U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Texas, said in a statement. Yeah, it doesn't sound good, Kim Bailey. Does not sound good. She's definitely... I personally think she's out of the country already because she went from Austin to Newark, then to New York, and then they believe she may have went out of the country. But to go out of the country, she would have had to use her name, so you think they would know that. But they said they believe she's they believe she may have went out of the country, but they're not confirming it. So I'm wondering if she used a different identity or... the best thing she could do at this point, wherever she is to surrender to authorities so she can return safely to Austin and answer to the charges against her. She needs to know the marshals are not going to stop looking for her. Investigators previously learned Armstrong was at the Austin International Bergstrom Airport early in the afternoon of May 14th. There, she boarded a flight to Houston Hobby Airport, where she took a connecting flight to LaGuardia Airport in New York. Oh, so she went from New York to Newark, I think. A homicide warrant was issued for Armstrong on May 17th with the affidavit pointing in part to surveillance video that reportedly shows a vehicle similar to Armstrong's near the scene of the fatal shooting before Wilson's body was found. Wilson had told a friend she was going for a swim with Colin Strickland, a professional cyclist who said he had been in a romantic relationship with Wilson while he and Armstrong were briefly separated. That afternoon, which he confirmed in an interview with police, they had dinner together afterward, and then he dropped her off at a friend's home around 8:36 p.m., Strickland said. He did not go inside. So she must have been following them or had like a tracker or something on it for her to know where her friend's house was. Like, she must have been following them, right? Or maybe they have, if they're dating, they have like Find Your iPhone on, like on their phones. And she's seen that he was, in some weird place and found out it was her. Officers responded to the home shortly before 10 p.m. to find Wilson suffering from gunshot wounds. According to police, she was pronounced dead at the scene. In the hours after Wilson's killing, Armstrong was taken into custody on an unrelated misdemeanor warrant and questioned about her vehicle being at the scene of the crime. But Armstrong ended the interview, police said, and she was released from custody because of discrepancy between the birth date listed on the warrant and the police computer system, police said. Authorities separately obtained a federal warrant for Armstrong on May 25th for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, the U.S. Marshals said. The U.S. Marshals Service has upgraded the search for Armstrong to a major case status. It said in a news release Monday the agency is offering up to a $5,000 reward for information leading to her arrest. Did I get on? Here we go. Okay, so she was spotted at the airport, New Jersey. Did Kaitlin Armstrong flee the country? That's the question some are asking as investigators enter the third week spent searching for the young yoga instructor accused of murdering her love rival in Austin, Texas. Fugitive flew to New York. On May 14th, after being questioned by police, and security cameras captured her casually strolling through LaGuardia Airport, yoga mat in tow. She was spotted at New Jersey's Newark International Airport 4 days later on May 18th, one day after a warrant was issued for her arrest. We're still unable to locate a flight that was under the name of Kaitlin Armstrong. So how did she get out of the country? That's how I want to know. They can't find a flight under her name. And how did she get out of the country? Or is she just hopping from state to state on flights under the guise of like different people? I mean, there's been other people who have done that, just like hid in the States. What was that one gangster that like was it the guy from Boston? Didn't he like evade police for like the longest time before he got caught in the US? Just the movie that Black Mass was about. That's who I'm thinking of. I can't think of his name. Johnny Depp played him in Black Mass. We've still been unable to locate the flight under her name. We're looking at video surveillance, trying to narrow down Kaitlin Armstrong amongst thousands of visitors that come in and out of that airport on a daily basis. Yeah, they're probably going through it's like finding a needle in a haystack, but they did pretty good so far, finding her 2 airports. Kaitlin Armstrong is always going to have to look over her shoulder, Phyllis said. The U.S. Marshal Service and other law enforcement agencies are going to continue day in and day out to get her direction of travel. But now some are criticizing law enforcement's search for Armstrong. Now someone has managed to slip through the fingers of Texas Rangers, the Austin police, and now security, not only at LaGuardia but Newark, Nancy Grace said, urging the public to keep their guard up and their eyes peeled. Don't just think of her as a defenseless yoga teacher. This young woman was armed with a SIG firearm and a silencer. Don't underestimate her, she said. Oh shit, she had a silencer. Hold on, I gotta find out that guy's name. Because it's gonna bother me. Black Mass. Who is that about? James Whitey Bulger. That was his name. Didn't he evade police in the US for like the longest time? I think I'm thinking of the right person. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen the movie Black Mass with Johnny Depp, it's awesome. It's so good. Yeah, see? Bulger became a fugitive in 1994 and was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list in 1999 and was considered the most wanted person on the list behind Osama bin Laden. He was finally apprehended along with his longtime girlfriend Catherine Gregg outside an apartment complex in Santa Monica, California on June 22, 2011. By then, he was 81 years old. Bulger and Gregg were then promptly extradited to Boston and taken under heavy guard to the United States courthouse, which had to be partially closed for their arrival. Yeah, he hid in the U.S. for like a while without getting caught. What was that? Like 7 years, maybe? In the States, which is surprising. Alright, guys. Well, I am going to sign off for the night. But, well, there's my lizard. I'm going to do a video on Michael Jones' case. Me and Melena have been talking about it. She's going to help me do it. She looked into that case a lot, and hopefully I'm going to do that this weekend, or maybe I'll be live this week about something. I just haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I got a bunch of stuff I can do. I just haven't decided one. Hopefully, we'll have some interesting case. Well, not hopefully, because, I don't want true crime to happen, but I mean, true crime happens all the time. There just hasn't been any high profile cases, so I haven't had a lot to talk about, to be honest, besides the Johnny Depp case, but I want to go, move on to true crime stuff. Yeah, Captain Kangaroo. I like no drama, too. I like actually doing, coverage of stuff. I don't want to fight with YouTubers or, any of that. It's not my style. But yeah, I don't like drama. I just like doing content. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And everyone else. I've been wondering. I don't know. Let me look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now before we go. Because I know they did it. They did they indicted through the grand jury. Hold on. I'll just look on my. Let me stop my screen. They indicted through a grand jury because they had the children testify, and they wanted to keep it private. Oh, wait. It was set for May 23rd, but obviously that's not the case. Hold on. Here's an article from 5 days ago. If they're given a timeline, I'm reading through. I'm trying to see if they say anything about a court date. On a daily basis, there's case movement. Arrests were arrested and held without bail. A grand jury seeking charges to an indictment. Originally set to start in May, the trial was moved back to July 25th. So, July 25th. That's when we can expect to do that. So, it got moved to July 25th. I mean, trials always get moved for some reason or other, so that'll be soon at least. And there's the Valo case is going to take a while, and then Letitia, I don't even know what's going on with that. I know last I checked they had to run tests on her or something again, and it got delayed again. So I can look up, see if they updated that too. News. Nope. Righties. I haven't seen an update for Letitia, so I don't know when that is. I think that just got delayed too. I don't think they have a court date, so oh well. We'll find out when it comes. Yeah, it was set for May 23rd, and then they changed it to July 23rd. Did I say? July 25th. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off. I'm starving. I have fishies here, and I've been dying to eat them, like goldfish. But I don't want to chew in people's ears. I'm gonna go get myself some food because I'm so hungry. But good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and like my video. Bye, everyone. I will probably be live Friday again, because Thursday I'll be at the movies. Probably Friday. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thumbs up and modding. See you, everyone. Bye.